So, you want to retire early. You'd love to travel the world, but you have no idea as how to accomplish that. Well, that was me 6 years ago. That is when I met Randy. He came into my life not only with love, but knowledge as well as the patience to show me that there was a better way to live. I never ever dreamed of living the type of life that I'm living right now. Like most people, I felt it was totally impossible considering my financial situation. But like Scotiabank says, you are richer than you think. Yeah, just go out and borrow as much as you can. Just pull it out of the equity of your overvalued home. Because real estate only goes up. What a joke.
Anyways, please watch our video and we're going to share with you exactly how you can now have the life that you only dreamed of before.
And please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share, and drop us a line. We'd love to hear from you.
For the past 3 years, Randy and I have seen over 30 countries on 5 different continents. We both retired early and now donate 365 days a year to seeing the world. This has been some of the best days of our lives.
For the most part, I had forgotten about what my old life was like, and that was until Randy and I had gone for a walk, and we came and sat right here on this bench, and I met a lovely lady, and we chatted about her life, and it hit me like a ton of bricks, because that was me 6 years ago. So this lady, she had one of those beautiful homes up there, and yet she was broke. She was living pension check to pension check. This lady, she was a widow, and yet she had 2 pensions, one from herself and her late husband. Her home was completely paid off for, and yet the cost of keeping the home, the monthly expenses, was taking most of her income. So I told this lady a little bit about our lives, and her response was, "Oh my gosh, you are so lucky." Luck has absolutely nothing to do with it. You just have to think differently, and you have to think outside the box. We told this lady she could have the exact same thing that we do. And there was one condition though. She had to sell her home. Before I met Randy, I was like most Canadians. I had a one asset strategy. I owned a beautiful home in North Saanich, British Columbia, and I had a small mortgage. I had a great paying job. Yet I was working 50, 60 hours a week, and then I would come home and I'd be the crazy gardener doing everything because I couldn't afford to pay anybody to do it. That home was killing me. You know, that home owned me. I was a slave to that home, and I hated it. Every July I would just dread house insurance. I would dread property taxes, and sometimes driving home at night, I had a flat roof and there'd be water on top of it, and I'd be like, oh my God, I hope I don't have a leak on the roof. And that was my life. And I felt like if I didn't own a house, I was a loser. And And I think that's just the mentality that we have grown up, or that I have lived in. And thank God that I've broken away from that, and that I learned different strategies. Now that I've explored all the different options that were available to me, I could not be happier. And for all of you that have followed our videos, you'd have to agree, we are living a pretty damn good life. Now I'm going to pass you on to Randy, and he is going to explain the numbers to you.
So I tried to explain the numbers to this gal, and you know, she just couldn't get it. And she's not alone. There's so many other people in the same boat as her. And there's so many people in retirement who are struggling, and they just have no idea why. I'm not going to get into exact detailed numbers in this video. We've got another video out there, and it explains it a lot better in there, the detailed numbers. But for the time being, what I'd like you to do is just take the value of your home and multiply that times 8.5%. So in this woman's particular case, the approximate value of her home was $2 million. And based on an 8.5%, that works out to $170,000 a year. And I should add, this is based on an average return of 7% per year. Personally, our average annualized return has been in excess of 13%. Just last year alone, it was over 20%. So, of course, the numbers are going to be considerably higher. So you take this gal, and $170,000 a year, combined with her 2 pension checks, she could lead a pretty nice lifestyle just about anywhere in the world. And yes, we know there's a lot of you out there who absolutely love your homes. It's a big part of your existence. And that's great, especially if you can afford it. We've got good friends that have an absolutely gorgeous home, and they still travel all over the world. But it's a very small minority of people that can afford that type of lifestyle. So if you're thinking you're just a couple big real estate bears, that's not the case at all. We've done really, really well over the last 40 years with the capital appreciation. But that was then, and this is now. In most of the countries that we visited over the last few years, we see very little room for upside. Prices have just gone insane, and the numbers just don't add up. And actually, we see the exact opposite upside. What we're seeing is falling prices and stagnant markets. I personally witnessed what a tough decision this was for Jill. And I know it's an equally tough decision for a lot of you, and rightfully so. For the last 15, 20 years, we've all been hammered by the constant propaganda from realtors, real estate boards, mortgage companies, mainstream media. And you know what they say, real estate always goes up. Trust me, that's not the case. And this became even clearer to us just last week. It's kind of timely, but we were approached by the Globe and Mail. They wanted to do a story on us. I actually gave them access to the same video that we've suggested you folks look at. And, you know, they have the exact detailed numbers right there in front of them. And our monthly cost of ownership for our home was in excess of $17,000 a month. The Globe and Mail decided we're going to report $3,033. Rightfully so, we were somewhat furious, but it just shows you. Don't believe everything that you read in the mainstream media. Brings us to today, and here we are. We're just finishing up a 2.5-month trip to Queenstown, and it's been wonderful. But as I mentioned earlier, Jill was was pretty nervous about this whole thing.
Yeah, it was probably one of the toughest decisions that I have ever made. I really thought owning a home was everything. It was a measurement of success, and but I sure was not living it.
No, it's as she mentioned before, prisoner to her home, and not just in the sense that it was controlling all her movements, but it was draining her financially.
Yeah.
And it's funny. You get rid of your home and all your belongings, and it opens up a lot of other doors. And
I've never felt more free.
Oh well, yeah, it's freedom number one. Aside from all the savings, we live where we want, when we want. We pay taxes where we want. There's once you let go of that anchor tied around your ankle, there's a lot of freedoms to explore a lot of different strategies. We've developed tax strategies now that save us tens of thousands of dollars, and that's on top of the money we save with the investment of our home.
Yeah, and I would go the other thing, and I always say to Randy and to some of my friends, is that right now with what we save through taxes, for example, is more than I was making. And now I get to not work, and I get to travel the world, and it doesn't get better than that.
No. How old were you when you retired?
55.
Yeah, and
freedom.
But when I first met Jill, we talked a little bit about retirement. I retired at 52, and I said, well, how long do you figure, before you'll be retired? And
and I was so locked into this, rabbit wheel, just spinning and taking care of the home and working, and until you get off it, then you realize what you're missing.
Yeah, it's a wonderful life, and like Jill said, tough decisions, but I think at least for me, it's been win-win-win.
Yeah, no, definitely, it's a win-win.
Yeah, so fear nothing but fear itself, folks.
Yeah. So I think on that note, we're going to say goodbye from Queenstown, New Zealand. So just once more, don't forget to please subscribe, like, and share. And you can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And now you can even follow us on X.
Oh,
Bye.
I didn't know that. You never told me that.
Yes.
Now I know.
Now you can follow them.
See you all later.
Bye.